Hey there YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with another collection pickup video. This time talking about comic books. I went to my comic book store, the comic book store that I frequent. I don't actually own it or anything, but went to the comic book store and picked up the comic books that were waiting for me there. A couple of big weeks, a lot of books came out, so like always I wanted to share the haul with you guys. So, first off, I picked up The Amazing Spider-Man #1. Yeah, Marvel, after Secret Wars isn't actually done yet, and Marvel is already pumping out all these new series for the new Marvel Universe. So once again, Marvel screws over the numbering and releases a whole bunch of new #1s. I've mentioned this before. I'm not a fan of that. I really, really hate the fact that, a year passes and then Marvel's like, we're going to cancel the series and then re-release a new #1. That's freaking stupid in my opinion. But, people still don't know how Secret Wars is going to end, and Marvel's already screwing up their shipping. But, Marvel is as Marvel does. But pick this one up. I'm actually, like I might have mentioned before, I am cutting down on my Marvel books just because I don't agree with some of their more questionable decisions. But I'm a fan of Spider-Man. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of Wolverine and Batman. They're my two main superheroes. Then second place would be Superman and Spider-Man. But I don't know. It's I've followed Spider-Man through worse. And what they're doing right now is basically Spider-Man has taken Parker Industries international. So basically, from what I've read, it seems like Spider-Man is now like a sort of Tony Stark. He goes around the world doing business deals and also does Spider-Man jobs. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I like a successful Peter Parker a lot more than a failure Peter Parker. So I think his best role was when he was a teacher. I liked the idea of Peter Parker being a teacher. I liked when he first got to Horizon. This seems a bit too much, but I'll still keep up picking up Peter Parker's adventures. Of course, sort of a kind of a spoiler, but I also saw it coming. When Doc Ock switched bodies with Peter Parker, Doc Ock was running around as the Superior Spider-Man. But then when he couldn't deal with Norman Osborn, he kind of deleted his memories from Peter Parker's body so he could defeat Norman Osborn. I always suspected that somehow Doc Ock would return by putting his brain into that robot, that servant robot, and lo and behold, the service robot, the green big lug. I mean, if you don't read Spider-Man, you don't know what I'm talking about. But there's this giant robot that Doctor Octopus had as his servant, and at the end of this issue, it's revealed that Doctor Octopus is either his memories or his consciousness is living inside that robot. So honestly, that wasn't that big of a surprise. It's something that I kind of saw coming, and it turned out to be that's entirely the case. So yeah, picked up Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, continuing the adventures of the successful international Spider-Man. So far it's still hit or miss with me. Picked up Aliens Vampirella 2. I'm a huge sucker for crossover, any sort of crossover. This I thought was interesting. Vampirella. I don't follow Vampirella that much. She's always been a character that I've kind of been interested in following, but I've never actually gotten into doing it. Mostly from Vampirella, what stands out are the covers. The Vampirella covers are pretty cool. But I thought this would be interesting. Vampire against the Xenomorphs. So far, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like in the future, but you have the Xenomorphs going against vampires, and vampires are not doing that well against against the Xenomorphs. And Vampirella actually gets a face hugger on her, and she spawns a Xenomorph. I'm guessing it's a vampire Xenomorph now. But because she's a vampire, she survives it, and she's able to fight back, but she's really weakened. But this is turning out to be a really cool crossover. I like this one. Also picked up Age of Apocalypse issue 5, with Apocalypse there on the cover. It was also pretty good. The way that they resolved this is because Apocalypse released the Legacy virus, so all the mutants, if they use their mutant power, are dying out. So what they do is that they bring back Jean Grey, and Jean Grey kind of does a House of M thing, where she wipes out the mutant gene in all the mutants. So that's how they stop the legacy virus. But of course now there's no mutants. Interesting end to the Age of Apocalypse, but I don't see how they can continue it with that setup. Picked up Batman 45, despite the fact that Bruce Wayne is not in the Batsuit. I am liking what they're doing, and the new bad guy, the Mr. Bloom character, seems interesting. But I recently read that Capullo is going to leave the book, so that's kind of a disappointment because his artwork was really fit with Snyder's storytelling. So it's kind of sad to see that team go away. Picked up Deadpool versus Thanos. Didn't pick up the new Deadpool monthly. I don't know. I like Deadpool in these kind of crossovers with other characters. And in this one, because I don't think I mentioned it before, someone steals. Basically, they steal Death. They kind of do a ritual where Death is given physical form, and then someone abducts Death. And of course, what happens is that no one's able to die. So things are if nothing dies, people that are gravely injured are suffering. If nothing dies, people can't cure diseases because the disease doesn't die. So the whole universe is messed up because of this. So Deadpool, who I didn't know had a thing with death, teams with Thanos, who I know does have a thing with death, to try to figure out what's going on. I thought this cover was pretty cool. It's the variant cover, and Deadpool has all these swords, and he has the blade from, it looks like a blade from Final Fantasy VII. So that was pretty cool. Then continues with Deadpool versus Thanos 3. And everything ends in Deadpool versus Thanos 4. So yeah, this is a really good thing. I don't know I don't know who they're gonna team up with Deadpool next. But these are small miniseries, 4 issues long, sometimes 5, mostly 4. But I like Deadpool in these little chunks. I don't think I could stand Deadpool for a monthly outgoing. So picked up Justice League Part 45, Part 5 of the Darkseid War. Darkseid is dead, and the Flash is bonded to the Black Racer. So now the Flash is an embodiment of death. Superman is still supercharged with the Apocalypse energy, so he's become like a superpowered evil god. Batman is still sitting in the Mobius chair, so he's also a new god. And basically what happens here is that everyone's dealing with the fallout of Darkseid's death. And Lex Luthor, the energy that was contained in Darkseid kind of escapes. So in Apocalypse, they're looking for a vessel, and Lex Luthor becomes that vessel. So Lex Luthor, at the end of this, becomes the new Darkseid. So really interesting story. I'm really digging this, and the story is so big that it spilled over into one-shots. This is one of the one-shots that I got is Darkseid War Batman. Batman with the all knowledge of the Mobius chair goes to Gotham to try to solve crimes and so on. There's a couple of more. There's going to be a Superman one that I'm going to pick up. There's a Flash that I'm not going to pick up. Shazam that I'm not going to pick up. A Green Lantern one that I'm not going to pick up. I don't know if they're going to do a Lex Luthor. That one I might pick up. But, yeah. Picked up Secret Wars issue 6. It says 6 of 8, but Marvel again announced that they're going to do a 9 a ninth issue. And despite how awesome this cover looks, Thanos is not fighting the zombies. What is revealed in this is that in Battle World there's a wall that separates the zombies and Ultron and so on. And it turns out that that wall is Ben Grimm. Ben Grimm has been keeping guard, and Thanos tells him that it's all been for naught because Doctor Doom has taken control of the world. So Ben Grimm rises up, a giant Godzilla-sized Ben Grimm rises up. So that's going to be the fallout that allows the zombies and Ultron to invade the rest of the realms. Yeah, this series is, again, like I mentioned, the shipping on this is ridiculous. I don't know why Marvel has pushed this thing back for so long, but decided to push forward the number one. So I don't know. The shipping schedule for Marvel is all sort of messed up, but I want to see how Secret Wars concludes. I mentioned this before. Again, I'm a huge sucker for what if stories. I love what if stories, and see all these multiverses collide is cool to me. But yeah, they gotta hurry up with this because it's slow. It's already a slow build, and it's just getting slower. Picked up Simpsons Comics 224. I don't know what the problem was with my comic book shop, but they could not get me that Jimbo Jones one-shot. Bongo Comics was releasing these one-shots for their characters, and the Jimbo Jones one is the only one I missed. And that really sucks. I don't like missing comic books. It makes a hole in my collection. But I got Simpsons Comics 224. One more issue, and they reached 225, which is a milestone for Simpsons Comics. I honestly didn't think they would reach that high. Picked up one of my favorite series so far. This is Star Wars Darth Vader number 10. I am loving the Darth Vader series. Really, really good. The artwork by LaRocca is amazing. Gillen's storytelling is really, really good. I'm really, really liking this. Actually, let me just... they're going to release the first Star Wars crossover. They're going to release a one-shot called Vader Down. I'm guessing it's going to spill over the story from this. Basically, what's happening in the comic books is that Darth Vader is kind of working behind the scenes for his own goals. He wants to, build an army. He's building a droid army. He also wants to confirm whether or not Luke Skywalker is his son. So he gets help from the killer droids. And this archaeologist, who I also always have trouble remembering her name. But basically he's doing that. And he's also having to report to the Emperor and this watchdog that they assigned to him. And the watchdog is really good. He's starting to suspect that Darth Vader is behind a lot of things that are going on. So basically Vader is stuck between what he wants and what he has to do. And all of that is going to lead into this. Basically Darth Vader is stuck in enemy lines. And he somehow finds himself against the Rebel Alliance. So the whole Rebel Alliance is after Vader because they want to, if they take down one of the Empire's worst persons, then they might have a shot at winning the war. So Darth Vader is behind enemy lines, and the whole Rebel Alliance is after him. So this promises to be really good. But this series, this is number 10 and number 11. Again, the covers themselves are beautiful to look at. But Darth Vader by far is my favorite book of the Star Wars that have come out. Then Star Wars 10, Luke Skywalker got captured by a Hutt, and they are using him to, try to fix... This Hutt is like a Jedi collector, and now he has a Jedi to fix lightsabers that he's collected, and he's putting him to fight against other creatures. Well, at the same time, Han Solo, Princess Leia, and that lady that claims to be Han Solo's wife are running from the Empire. So it's interesting how they're going to play that wife element into the series, but this has been hit or miss. Vader has been the best one, but this is not bad. It's a good book, but some things have been hit or miss. This is I almost missed out on this one. This is Journey to Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Star Wars: Shattered Empire. I don't know if this is a monthly thing or it's going to be a series of miniseries, but it follows a rebel pilot that's interacting with the fallout of the death of the Emperor Vader and the destruction of the second Death Star. How the Empire is still functioning. It's just not leaderless at this point, but it's still functioning. The feat of the Emperor in Return of the Jedi is not the end for the Empire. There's still pieces of the Empire that are still functioning, and this story follows that and follows this character who's going to be the mother of a character, the pilot character in The Force Awakens, and this is issue 4. So yeah, if they do more, I'll pick them up. But Greg Rucka did. His writing is always good. I like Greg Rucka's writing, and so yeah, that was pretty cool. Picked up Superman issue 45. Not really liking the Superman books. Right now, Superman in this series is depowered. His solar flare has been acting up, and this organization a couple of issues back were kind of sucking off his solar flare. So his powers are kind of wonky, and he's not, fully charged. So he's also been outed. Everyone knows that Clark Kent is Superman, and he has basically no secret identity. But what happens in this one is that he joins a fight club, and that is stupid. But this came out. This is Superman, Lois, and Clark. In Convergence, the Superman I grew up with, the one that's married to Lois Lane, decided to help out in that series and traveled back in time to stop the original Crisis of Infinite Worlds. It's revealed that they were successful in stopping that event, and they decided to stay in the New 52. So for 5 years, in story-wise, the Superman I grew up with, still married to Lois Lane, and they have a kid, has been interacting with in secret with the events of the New 52, even though it's not called the New 52 anymore, but it's still what it is. He was actually there when Darkseid first encountered the Justice League, and he stood back because he didn't want to interfere. So the writing is done by Dan Jurgens, who for the majority of the time that I've been reading Superman, he wrote a bunch of Superman issues. It was him, John Byrne, and Dan Jurgens. And seeing him fall back into the character, you can hear the voices of the Superman again that I grew up with, and his interaction with Lois Lane. They're still married, and they have a kid again, and that's the Superman I grew up reading. That's the Superman that I followed for a long, long time. And honestly, I really, really like this Superman a lot better than this Superman. The values of this Superman were the thing that I enjoyed the most. So it's amazing to me that this Superman is back in the current continuity. So this is amazing. I'm definitely going to keep this one. Picked up Marvel Zombies issue 4. I thought it was going to be a monthly, but I guess it was only a miniseries. Because this kind of concludes very neatly, and that's the end of this. So I guess this was a miniseries, but I still like the Marvel Zombies concept. Also, I guess this year was What If year, because they released a couple of What If one-shots. And like I said, I love alternate worlds and what if stories. And in this one, they decided to follow Infinity, which was, for the most part, the more successful of the Marvel big events. I'm guessing next year they're going to do a Original Sin, maybe, or because it would seem kind of silly to make a what if of Secret Wars. But this one is basically follows what if Black Bolt became a servant of Thanos. This one, if Thanos helped the Avengers against the other villains in Infinity, which were like the constructors or the designers. I forget what they were. The architects, something like that. But of course, he's working in secret to find his son. This one is X-Men Infinity. What happens? Basically, Thanos does destroy the Earth, and a small group of X-Men survived and are living in space. This one is what if Infinity Guardians of the Galaxy? What if the Guardians of the Galaxy decided to interfere with the Illuminati and go after Thanos themselves? And this one is Dark. What if Infinity Dark Reign, where Norman Osborn, when he was when he was the leader of his organization, it's not Shield, it's Hammer. Finds out about the Infinity Gauntlet and goes after the gems, and basically he has the Infinity Gauntlet. He stops the siege event, and he basically becomes the Goblin King. But his own hubris destroys him. So I thought this was the best one of the What If series of this year. I thought this one was really, really good. Picked up Witchblade 184. This series is gonna end with 185. So I'm gonna stop picking up Witchblade, which was good. I was thinking of dropping the series anyway, but when I read that they were going to cancel it, I'll stick until 185, and then I guess I'm done with Witchblade. Which is really sad that this book it got really, really good, and then it kind of dropped in quality, and they brought back Ron Mars, but I don't know, the magic was lost. Picked up Old Man Logan issue 5. Old Man Logan's gonna get his own monthly, so they're gonna re-release this, I guess, as a new number 1 with Old Man Logan living in the new Marvel universe. It's gonna be interesting to see how that works out, because he's gonna appear in Exciting X-Men. He's not the 616 Wolverine. He's not the Wolverine that I know and love, but it's still a Wolverine. They're gonna have Old Man Logan, and they're gonna turn X-23 into the new Wolverine. So you're gonna have 2 Wolverines living in the Marvel universe. So at least it's a Wolverine, even though he's old and his healing factor doesn't work anymore. I'm still gonna pick that one up, and of course I'm gonna pick up the X-23 all new Wolverine. So that's cool. And last book I pick up is Wonder Woman 45. And it appears that Donna Troy dies in this one, because she gets thrown an arrow through her back, and it seems like she reverted back to clay. So I guess that's the end of Donna Troy. But yeah, someone's after Wonder Woman, and they want to dispose her as the God of Death. Hit or miss. The artwork is really good. The story is interesting. It doesn't compare to the work from the last creative team, but it's not that bad. I've heard reviews that really bash this book, and it's not that bad. It's not the best, as good as it was before, but it's not a bad read. I enjoy it, and again, the artwork is pretty cool. But yeah, that was the comic book pickup video. Like I said, a lot of really cool books came out. Some books ended. Some miniseries ended. I always try to make a recommendation for the haul, whether it be, comic books or movies. This being the comic book edition, I'm going to recommend Infinity Dark Reign. This is really good. I thought it was really good. I thought it was an interesting look at Norman Osborn. And the way that he kind of kills himself, because he does die at the issue, it is fitting with Norman Osborn. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The other ones are kind of hit or miss. Not really that cool. They're good, but not the best. I'm gonna recommend Superman, Lewis and Clark. If you're an older comic book collector and you grew up reading Superman after the John Byrne reboot, pick the series up. It reads exactly like those old books, and I'm super happy to have my Superman back. This is the Superman again that I grew up reading, and this is my Superman, and it's great to have him back and not have that new Superman that they have. And I'm also going to recommend Darth Vader. Darth Vader's a great series. I don't know how long it's going to go. I don't know how long Gillen is going to be writing, or La Roca doing the artwork. But definitely pick up this Vader Down 6-part crossover event. It's going to be the one-shot Darth Vader Down. Then it's going to cross over to Darth Vader 13, Star Wars 13, Darth Vader 14, Star Wars 14, and Darth Vader 15, coming in November. So this is good. This promises to be really, really cool. So yeah, that was the recommendation for this video. Like always, guys, if you watch this video, thanks so much for the watch. I appreciate thumbs up, comments, whatever you want to take the time to leave. So yeah, thank you. And until then, this is Vargas XX78, thanking you and signing out. Bye, guys.